is a test of the emergency broadcast system.
This is only a test.
DJs and MCs. This DJ, he gets it out.
Listen to this jockey's introduction to
Two DJs and a mic with your host, DJ Mike.
Is that a timetable?
And DJ JP.
Well, get on it. It's your time.
Give me the mic.
Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Two DJs and One Mic. I'm joined here with the nice guy, DJ JP, and myself, the soft-spoken one. And we're grateful to have with us today DJ Lee. He has just gotten his DJ name after X amount of years, but now it's official. We have DJ Lee in the house. Thank you for joining us, DJ Lee. How you doing?
Thank you for having us. I feel awesome and grateful. Again, I know it's last minute, but thank you guys. I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Oh yes.
Yep. No, it's not last minute, man. We were just looking for the right DJ. You were the right DJ at the right spot at the right time, man.
Oh yes.
Perfect for what we wanted to talk about tonight, man. So I'll let Mike introduce the topic since it's his baby tonight.
Well, you know, I've been seeing this post, and there's a slew of posts running around or videos on Instagram's Reels where they're just talking about DJs in the club scene that are still making as low as $150 a night. And just knowing that's consistent of, I would say, anywhere from 3 to 6 hours. And to know that that still exists, and not just here in Texas, but this is in LA and different places that people are still making that type of money. So we want to talk about it. We want to flip it, rub it down, you know. Oh no.
Back it up. Oh no.
We want to do all of that.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So and again, you know, we thank you, Lee, for coming on with us and talking about this.
And you know, these questions they're not exactly aimed at you, but we're gonna ask you, and then, you know, if you know some people dealing with the situation, just answer to the best of your ability. So all right. So
but hold on, before we get there, tell us a little bit about yourself, because the questions have nothing to do with asking you about yourself. We want to know about you. You know, let us know who you are, let the people know who you are, and so forth.
All right. Well, I truly appreciate it, guys. And so again, DJ Lee, like he said, I just kind of got that name. I've been DJing for about 15 years now. I've been doing it since high school. Third generation DJ. My son's going to be fourth generation DJ. My dad's been doing it for over 35 years. And we went under the umbrella of LA Productions. Last year and this year, we just won DFW's favorite DJ. So I'm super excited. We're expanding. And so that being said, when I saw this topic, I was like, man, I need to talk about this, because I just got into the bar scene about 1.5 years, almost 2 years ago. Wow. And I'm definitely seeing a little bit of what you're seeing, because I saw that at first, but I definitely can't wait to answer some of those questions. But no, like I said, I've been in the game for about 15 years by myself. Pretty much been DJing with my dad since I was a little baby. So music's in my blood. I was even a dance major. So I got a lot of musician and a lot of background that helps me do my art. So it's pretty fun.
How long have you said? About 15 years. So what do you do primarily before you, what do you do mostly? Weddings, quinceañeras, what?
Yeah, so I do a lot of weddings, a lot of corporate events. I actually DJ. I'm from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but you know, I'm all over the place. We DJ all the way out in Nebraska, Atlanta. We're getting into like Royal Caribbean, so we're doing a lot of cruises now. So my business has expanded tremendously, but it's also because of all the extra stuff that I do, that I'm pretty sure you'll ask me about later on. But we are a full entertainment business, but DJing is at the heart of it.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, that's good. And I'm excited for you. You know, it's just always cool when you talk to someone and they was just brought up into it. Yeah. You know, and was it something that you just fell in love with, or did your dad say, hey, you're going to be a DJ?
Talk to speak.
So it was actually pretty cool. A little bit of both. It was actually a marketing idea from my dad. He was like, "Let me get my son up on a little stool, and when the crowd sees him, they're gonna go crazy." Even though he pre-made all my mixes, and then as it got on,
you just can't drop that in there. Like, so he pre-made the mixes for you before, and just
like when I was like 7 and 8. When you're seeing a 7 or 8 year old just step up in front of a crowd of 300-400 and just put the headphones on, obviously they go crazy, right? Now we didn't have crazy cell phones back then, Instagram Live, back when I was little. But the thing was, they were like, "Oh, I want the little DJ come up. I want the little DJ come up." So it was a marketing thing at first.
Well, that's cool. That's pretty cool. Good. Glad he did that.
Hey, that was before props.
Yeah, pretty much. So, and then eventually he was like, "Hey, why are you moving the crossfader? Why are you doing this song?" And then because I started off with CDJs. I learned how to do vinyl and stuff, but I kind of went into CDJs and stuff like that before the controllers kicked in. So he started realizing like, hey, he's actually got a little bit of an ear for it. And he let me do like 5-10 minute sets every hour. And then eventually it took off. So when I was like 13, 14 in high school, obviously that was a little chick magnet thing. Look, I'm the DJ. I'm in high school. I go to the parties and do whatever.
You're not doing it for chicks.
And that's
always a girl somewhere down the road.
Yeah,
just because
that's where the passion kicked in.
Want to be creative.
Yeah,
I want to get it for Diane.
Yeah. Rocking Diane.
But no, that's good, man. That's cool. Chick magnet. Yeah, he said it. All right, brother. So let's jump into this conversation and let's talk about this, man. So, all right. Number one, why are club DJs still accepting pay rates that haven't changed in over a decade? I'm going to say more than that. I'm going to say 2 or 3 decades, Mike. I'm sure we all have some friends that's doing it. You may not be doing it, but what do you think about that, Lee? Why do you think
I definitely it's one or two things. One, I think mostly it's a lot of DJs, to me, at least in my area, they don't have the confidence to tell the bar owners like, hey, I need what my hourly rate is, or at least meet me in the middle somewhere. And then the other thing is, I feel a lot of DJs now are still looking at this as a hobby. They're not really looking at this as a main source of like income as far as like turning this into a business. So it's a little bit of a mixture of both, because I'm like, definitely, I do feel it's like 2 decades, maybe even 3 decades, because my dad was telling me way back in the day of like, he'd be put on for a little bit. The tip jar would sometimes be more than what he got paid. And so that pushed him to learn how to put on a different performance with ultimately made him like give the bar owner like, hey, I have to pay you more. You're bringing in more revenue, so I have to give you something else.
Yeah. So, Mike, what's your thoughts on that, sir?
Well, I think a lot of it for me, I would have to put on a lack of education, a lack of knowing, your value as a DJ, and due to the fact that we have so much division within our industry, sometimes it's hard to get a truthful answer from your fellow DJs. You have DJs that will tell you they're making something that they know that they're not. And then say you look up 2 weeks later and you're wondering why the club didn't call you and he's up in there.
Yeah.
So I think education, which breeds not knowing your value, and division within the industry, are the 3 for me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's education. Perhaps if you know better, you do better. One thing I think too is the one where it's cutthroat. I mean,
Oh yeah.
And then people just want a chance to get on, so they're gonna do it for anything. So a lot of times they're just gonna go in there. Well, he's making $250. I'll do it for $150. And just trying to get in the door to get their foot in, and the value never gets raised, because there's always somebody behind that person that's willing to do it for less. Yeah, and we don't figure out a way to make it better. Anything else you want to add, sir? You good on that one?
Pretty much. I look at it this way too. This is maybe a little bit side note, but I'm a huge stand-up comedian fan. And so when I look at stand-ups that do open mics, a lot of them do it for free. You know, stand-up comedians really don't start hitting that apex till X amount of years down the road. But when you start getting those comedians that are really hitting, and then some of these bars and some of these clubs are like, hey, I need you to be my opener. I need you to do this. It's the worth ethic. So for me, obviously just kind of new to this over the last 2 years, I've seen the ups and downs of what I've got paid and then what I'm getting paid currently. And it does come to the fact of like worth ethic has to come into it. But I definitely agree with y'all. Knowledge is everything. Knowing a little bit of the ins and outs of, and making sure that you get paid for what you're worth.
Yeah. All right. Nick, go ahead, Michael.
Well, what impact does low club pay have on how DJs are valued in other sectors, you know, like the weddings and private event sectors, in your opinion?
So what impact does low club pay? So it could actually lower your self-esteem a little bit, especially if you're just getting a lot of club stuff and nothing of the other stuff. You know, you're like, man, I'm just scraping ends meet right now. But to me, since I'm a different person, I'm gonna tell you right now, Jay-Z says it the best, you know, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. So it's just one of those things where like I always have that in my head. So for me, when I started going into the bars and getting paid real low, I was like, I have the audience in front of me. I'm gonna outperform. I'm gonna do what I need to do because I got about 50 other people here that are gonna give me those referrals, and that's what's gonna make me my money later on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's bring in the great LG into the building.
Oh man.
Yes, thank you for joining us. We got DJ Lee as well with us. Lance, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good.
We're
Pretty good. So we're going to hit you with this question as well, as you can see on the scene. What impact does low club pay have on how DJs are valued in other sectors?
What impact does low?
Yeah, getting paid a little bit of money in the club have on what you feel like, you know, weddings, private events. Does it impact it at all?
I think it does, in my opinion.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't know what we make in the club. But go ahead, LG. Give us what's your thoughts on it?
I mean, personally, for me, I don't think those two coincide with each other, only because they're two different scenes. What you get in a private events and weddings is different from clubs always, because private events and weddings is always based on one, your clientele, and then two, if you're bringing gear or not, and then all the other factors that go into it. Versus a club, it's more based on your talent and what you bring to the club as a valued person.
Yeah. I tend to agree with him. I don't think it has any value because who's going to ask the club owner how much they're paying the DJ?
I'm gonna just throw it. I'm gonna just flip the script for y'all and look at it from a different perspective, because I agree with that. But when you start having situations with, like, say, club DJs getting into the private sector, and they started in the club, and say that this particular guy, the highest pay that he's got in the club is $300, and he quotes a private event at $300 or $400. It starts to affect the market, because we have that situation where people come in not knowing the value, and they devalue the service. And you may not see it in certain areas, but it's like a disease. It spreads. So that's how, for me, when I see that, that's what I'm thinking about. But I agree with what Lee and Lance said.
But you're right. That is. But eventually they're going to get educated, or somebody's going to hip them to the game sometime, and they're going to tell them, hey, you know,
I can't hang my hat there.
No, I know, but I'm just saying
they should.
I say eventually.
They should. But some people are still doing it to this day and fight with people on social media about it. You have people out there that charge that and then tell people that you shouldn't be charged that much. So you know, and I'm sorry.
No, soapbox. Get on up there.
I just can't, you know, because you have people that do that, and ultimately it just affects that industry. So to me, that's how it, you know, works its way over.
All right, we're gonna jump to the next one. All right. Is this strictly a promoter venue problem, or does the DJ community also play a role in maintaining these low standards?
I'll let you guys go first.
We'll let Lance.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Man.
Now we're gonna have to start name dropping right here.
You just opened the whole pit.
Without ever
Hey,
calling
you
their
don't
name.
have to say it. You can text me. I'll say it.
Yeah. But you really don't have to say anybody's name. You just tell the truth. I mean, is it our problem or is it on the promoters? But go ahead. I'm gonna let y'all answer. Then we'll give our answer. But go ahead. Somebody, please.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'll go first. So I'm gonna say it's a little bit of both. Again, because if that DJ is going in not educated on the scene or understanding their worth, even though yes, I understand, some bars they have all the bells and whistles set up. I just got to plug my controller and that's it. So that obviously is going to, number in the prices that I'm going to be charging them. But as far as what we should be doing is understanding, hey, you want bottles to keep popping, you want these buckets to keep serving, I'm going to keep spinning and keep making sure this energy is hype. So there's a little give and take in there, because that's ultimately, like, for me, I went from one night at the club to 5 nights in a row. So it's just one of those things of understanding leverage on our end, but the promoter needs to understand your bar is nice, but they're also not coming in here just because they like that one bartender. Mm-hmm. They're coming here because they like that vibe. They definitely like the show and they like the presentation too.
Yeah. Lance?
I honestly don't think it's anyone's problem. I think end of the day, it's always up to the talent what their value is. Me personally, I've had promoters and venues try to underpay me, and I'm like, here's my rate. You could either pay it, or I'll just walk away and go to another venue that would pay my rate. Because end of the day, I don't need that gig. I don't need to be in that venue. And a lot of times what the thing is that people don't understand is that venues are like, oh, we don't have money, or the promoter's like, we don't have money. But in reality, you're going to a club and their bar's full, their dance floor's full, and you can't pay the DJ $600-$700. I'm sure you're ringing up $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a night at the bar. So I think it's always the talent that should decide what their value is and what they're bringing to the venue when they get there.
Yeah. That's a great answer. Michael?
Well, I agree both ways. And the problem, the hiccup, is when you're dealing with people that don't know their value. Sometimes you get people come into this industry and it started out as a hobby and they just love what they do. And they don't know what that value is. And I think as an industry, I think we do a terrible job when it comes to educating each other and pouring into each other. Even though we have this small sector that I would say, with going to the conferences and so forth, it's easy to get sucked into thinking that those are big numbers. When you look at when you look at all of the DJs that's out there, we're just a small pocket. Yeah. And I think that as a whole, we don't do enough with pulling the next person up, because when we walk away, there's somebody else that don't know their value and they're going to take those pennies. So for the club owners, it never puts pressure on them because they always got somebody that'll take less, because we have no standards. We have nothing that unifies us. We have pockets of us that are unified and we do what we do and we make it happen. But there's a lot of us that are not.
Yeah.
You got something you want to add to that, Lance?
I mean, you have to also look at it the other way, is that as DJs, it's our job to tell venue and club owners why certain DJs get paid what they do. Now, if you flip the script and say, like me, who's been DJing for 14 years, has a rate of like 700, and the DJ comes in that's at like 14 days, that's at like 700, he's not going to be as well maintained and talented as I would be. So it's always our job, or vice versa, whereas a new DJ comes in at a low rate and we come in, and then the management's like, well, why is this guy charging me this much? So I think a lot of DJs, what they never, because end of the day, 90% of venue owners have no idea about entertainment. They have no idea about DJs. They don't have any idea about values. They don't have any idea about rates. They don't understand the work that goes into it. They just want music coming out. They want people on the floor and drinks being bought. That's their only goal.
It's their only goal, brother. Only goal.
And to me, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I think at the end of the day, it always comes down to the DJ or the talent. It could be a live musician that's at a club or bar that should set their rate and let them know why they're that rate.
Yeah, I agree. I think y'all nailed it. I mean, like you say, there's we've all done it. I've done it. I've taken $50 for a 4-hour set back a long time ago to DJ somewhere. So we've all been there and done it. But like you say, once you know better, you do better. If you don't, that's on you. But it's always going to be somebody behind you, and they just want a shot. I want a shot to DJ in this nice club. I want to DJ in this club. So a lot of people are willing to take that because they just want a chance to do what they've seen you do. So, I like to say, but as you get better, then there'll be another feeder coming behind that feeder. So it's a forever-ending cycle, non-ending cycle. So I don't know how we break the cycle.
Well, I think the way that we break the cycle, we have to come together as a whole and put some things in places, because it's like when you're young and you're going to school, you have to go to school and graduate. And if you don't graduate, you're that small percentage that's out there, but there's rules set in place. So right now, the numbers are greater on the other end versus on the right end for me. Yeah. And if we can, find a way to put some things in place, it makes it better, because you have some people spinning in places that, man, they're bad DJs.
Yeah.
They're horrible businessmen.
Yeah.
They don't know nothing about business. And that's that part that separates.
Because you love it first, Mike. Most people love it first.
I know. Yeah. And it's good to love it first.
This is a good comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Somewhere along the way, we stopped setting standards and started settling. We undercut each other. We take gigs for exposure. We stay quiet when rates don't make sense, just to stay booked. And that silence keeps the cycle going. Promoters and venue owners aren't always trying to blowball us. They're responding to the system we help create. It's not about blame. It's about responsibility.
I love that.
That's a damn good answer right there. Yep, facts, all that good stuff. Great answer. That kind of nails it up. All right, we're going to keep this fire burning, because we can stay on some of these topics. That's the church and Deacon Powell there. All right, what's next, Mike? Your turn. I got it. It's up.
Yeah,
all right.
Thank you. So, and it's just kind of, how do you feel the rates vary city, in regions, and what patterns are we seeing across the country?
Same.
Yeah.
I can answer that. We can move on.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. that guy posted. I mean, he in LA, he was making $250 for a 6-hour gig.
Yeah. I was shocked.
It's exactly the same. Like, it is crazy. Like we were talking before we got on the pod. I do.
Is it better? Go ahead, educate us, Lance. If it's better in Chicago, let us know.
I don't know, man. We're making it slightly a little more out here.
Well, slightly ain't. I mean, it may be the case because you guys might go in there and stick to your guns, or y'all might be, it might be something like
and
that.
And it may be more.
I mean, for us, openers make about 150. Closers are making about 400 to 500 if they're well seasoned.
Yeah, that still sounds horrible for a 5-hour.
But it also depends where you're playing, because out here we have actual nightclubs. And then there's like bars that pay. The low end bars out here maybe pay about 300 to 400.
Yeah.
If you're playing an actual nightclub, if you're playing an actual nightclub, you can make about 6 to 7,
So,
and then some guys make about 1,000 for 2 hours.
So where do we think it should be? Should it, I mean, what do you think it should be at, Lee?
Man, he said 1,000 for 2 hours. It needs to be at that. I tell you that right there.
Hey man, those are big.
Those are probably big liners like
radio personality.
Oh boy, you hooked me in. We met Tony. What's his name? Terry
Hunter.
We met him at NAMM. Y'all were hanging out.
Yeah, Terry.
Yeah. People like, well, I had a partner that used to work for K104 here, and he used to go to clubs for an hour and get $500, but he was on the radio. So it's all what you do. And, I'm going here. You said on the radio, hey, they're going to pay you to come out and do that. So it just all depends. And I used to own a club, y'all. So I used to take care of my DJs, though. So I would pay decent rates at the time. That was back in the late 90s. So I took pay well above standards. Plus, it was my brother, so I wasn't going to shortchange him.
He gonna tell your mama on it. Why would you? If you got to go home to mama.
He definitely made more than any other club in the city. I mean, any other DJ in the city. But I think if you got your floors packed and things are going, like you say, man, they back there making $7,000 on the bar, and that was then. So what do or we made $7,000 on the door. I mean, come on, man. What are you making, and why you can't pay nobody? I know you got overhead and all that stuff, but Mike, the money.
Do DJs know they can negotiate prices?
No.
Yeah, because
I don't think everyone knows.
No, maybe not. But I started.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I want a percentage of the door.
Like, see, some venues I play at, I'll either take a percentage of the door, a percentage of the people I bring, or I'll tell them if we get this much, we would take this much of the bar sales.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, but a lot, again, y'all, like I said, I am happy to be playing here. I don't, they don't know all that. They just happy to be in the building. So it's not exactly anybody's fault, but they, hey, I see DJ Lee or LG, man, LG in the club killing it, man. I just want to be up there where LG is one night. I'm going to take peanuts just to do that. And then, but hopefully you get educated or LG say, hey, man, this is what I usually make. But we don't do that because we don't want to tell anybody because maybe we're ashamed of what we were making sometimes, So
I'm just looking at this question and I have another question to that. It said most DJs want to plug and play and not bring, their own equipment, which is cool. So my question to that, just because you're plugging in, should that devalue what you're bringing?
I don't think so, but I think that's where a lot of DJs are uneducated of that.
Define equipment. Yeah. Are we bringing speakers? Are we bringing lights? Are we just bringing our board?
We'll say speakers and lights.
No, just bring your controller.
Yeah.
He's saying plug and play. So
I know it, but I'm asking the question. Should that devalue your service? And when we say a little bit, is that a couple of dollars? Because the reason why I'm saying that is this, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
When you say that $1,000 for 2 hours, that's $500 an hour.
Yeah. We
have some DJs that are bringing lights, dancers, and possibly their mother to an event, and they're not making $500 an hour. They're making.
I want to know who's bringing dancers. That's what I want to know.
Hey, I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking, but I'm saying just because we patch in or bring equipment, it shouldn't affect our value. We got to get to a point to where that doesn't affect our value, because
the value, but
if I don't plug,
charge as much if you're not bringing.
Who says we can't?
Well,
if that's the case, they shouldn't be telling me, "Hey, I'm gonna pay you $150."
As a club owner, I'm not gonna pay you as much if you had to lug in speakers and lights.
I get that, but I'm just saying the flip side of that. When someone tells me, "Hey, I can only pay you $150 and I need you to spend for 6 hours," you shouldn't be talking to me like that.
That sounds so treacherous, but that's the way it was back in the day. It was 8 to 2 in the morning. And man, I used to do clubs from 10 to 4.
Can we talk about even getting a check? Some of these clubs just don't pay sometimes.
Oh my God.
That's
I've
even
never
worse.
had that because I haven't.
Can we just talk about that where a venue won't pay
Yeah, I want to hear this.
or just will like waste your time and be like, I got you next week. Next week comes and they don't pay. So now you got to double that check.
Well, why are you still in there?
I don't get your money. I'm not doing that.
I mean, the worst one for me has been sorority and fraternities. Hey, we didn't make enough money on the door. Can we pay you later? But you kind of understand college kids. But I mean, the club was packed. We was rocking. So how did y'all not make enough money? Where did we understand? So I mean, it's all kind of stuff, man. So many. But if you learning, you start doing contracts and you start saying the needle will not hit a record until I get paid. And so, yeah, I learned my lessons the hard way, man. Oh, we got $50 for it. What? I just DJ 6 hours and you got $50?
Yeah.
We'll get you next month.
Yeah, it was so much booty popping out there from my music. You gonna tell me you got $50?
I have some wild stories of not getting paid.
Really?
But,
I mean, I've had some too where people have not tried not to pay me, but their club is still standing. So they eventually.
Hey, there's been clubs that don't pay me, and I unplugged the CDJ and walked out with it.
Wow,
I would drink to that
that's
too.
a come up.
Yep.
Hey, it's a lien. I'm like, either pay me or I'm selling this CDJ and getting the money.
Somebody said this guy DJ Rain said that.
That's
Rain.
Oh man, 6 weeks of ducking and dodging for 2. Oh God! First, there's a couple.
That's why I brought it up.
Wow. I'm bringing equipment to a bar. It's $1,000. I hear you, Ray, but let me know when you get that. Even here in Dallas, you still, I mean, unless you're getting a piece of the door, there's probably, I mean, unless you work on K104, 97.9 The Beat or something, you're not getting $1,000 in the club. If you are, please let us know where it is so I can go start working there.
Well, let's move on.
Yeah,
go ahead, young Jeffrey.
What advice do you have for new DJs who want club experience but don't want to get trapped in low-paying gigs?
Be an opener.
Be an opener. What is it? I mean,
define that role as an
that?
opener.
What is that? 2 hours?
I think here's my opinion, and Lee, you could interject. I think the hardest portion to DJ in a club is being an opener, because it is your job to play the right music, not to play mainstream bangers right away. And it is also your job to set the floor. If you don't set the floor, the whole night is screwed.
Yeah.
And I've seen openers train wreck it. I've had openers open for me that destroyed the floor, and I had to come in during my set and rebuild it because they just didn't set the floor. And I think, for me, because I have a talent agency now, the way I do it is that a lot of guys that work for me were my openers, because that puts me in a position to see, 1, their music knowledge, 2, if they can read a crowd, and 3, if they can handle the pressure of building a floor. Because I think anyone could go into a room full of people and play music and play straight bangers and call it. I think being part of the DJ is learning how to curate your songs, when to curate it, and how to read the crowd correctly.
What's up, really real, man? Everybody checking in, Ray. Everybody who checking in. Yeah. Do you have openers, Lee? Do you have anybody ever open for you around here?
So usually the bars that we go through, I'm pretty much in the stockyards. So I'm on Main. I'm kind of right in the main street of Fort Worth. I'm usually the closer. So I kind of agree with what Lance was saying down there. Like, sometimes it's hard for me to come in if they really didn't bring the crowd up to where they needed to be for me, because being like I said, being a wedding DJ first and then going into the bar scene, that's how I would set the night. If it was the reception, cocktail hour, my job is to slowly build before we get to the boom right after the first dance. So it's very similar in the bars. I don't want to be playing, my top 40 going straight in, because we still got 9, 10, 11 o'clock midnights when the freaks come out. So it's just one of those things where I have to understand time. I got to understand my set. And as well as playing in the stockyards, I have a mixture of people. So country, Spanish music, rap. There's a lot of stuff that I got to be able to do. If my opener does not set that tone, or they just play a continuous of just a specific genre that they're used to, it makes it a little bit harder for me to kind of keep that night going.
Do you usually know the opener?
Most of the bars that I'm at, yeah, it's pretty much the same guy, or the vendors are like, hey, have you heard this guy before? Do you want him to start before you? So I kind of have a little bit more say so now that I'm more involved.
Hey, real quick, Ryan, is that Ryan from Chicago?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Hey,
Dancing
even more
Ryan.
embarrassing is when a $100 GA shows up with no speakers.
I'm just gonna sip my tea.
It's funny, but you're right. I mean, you don't know. Okay, then you get there and you're supposed to have a whole setup, lights and everything, but you agreed to this $100 contract.
Okay, you want to know the story behind this?
Sure, we got time. Go ahead, Lance.
So, the story is that Leo is one of my top DJs right now on my team. So he's been helping me find venues. And I do venues when he finds them. He does venues when I find them. So we had this venue that we've been with for maybe 2-3 years. And it got to the point where they just slowly the owners would get hammered at night or drunk. And then they would not write checks. So we'd be like, okay, we'll come back tomorrow and grab the check. So 2-3 weeks go by because they just aren't responsible. And then what happened is they started bringing Leo and I started booking better gigs. So he said, spill my tea. So what happened was that Leo and I stopped playing these places Friday night. So the venues started bringing their own DJ in. And Leo was nice enough to leave his equipment there. So when he books a DJ or when I come to play, we would use his equipment on Friday nights. But it got to the point where the venue stopped asking him for permission to use it, and they started booking this DJ, and they started using it. But we finally gave up on the venue and pulled it out, and the DJ showed up and didn't realize that gear wasn't there.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was just happy to make his $100.
Woo! Days of our life.
Man, God.
With all that being said, Leo and I are making twice as much now.
Okay, good. I mean, it's all about education and growing, man. God, dog, what some of the stories. Whew, I can tell you some stories too.
So interesting thing, because I've never just really been a club DJ. And I've been seeing these posts about how can I say this? Etiquettes, DJ etiquettes in a club. The opener, he cannot or she cannot play certain songs because it affects, the chain of command, or it affects the closer. Mm-hmm. So they don't want you to play bangers. You got to play certain things outside of those mainstream bangers. How do you guys feel about that? And is that true for you?
Yeah.
Depends who the DJ is.
Yeah. But yeah, because you have to play stuff that is not like, you wouldn't go in there and just start playing like all the hits, right? Because then what's left for the main DJ that night? So you open and you come with hits, but they're older hits. You might throw in 1 or 2 songs that are hot, but you're not going to kill everything that the main guy, like you said, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, when you're just trying to kill it. And
is that something that you talk about? I mean, saying is this something that, like say, we got a meeting before everybody go in, and I'm just saying, well, what if I don't know that?
Well, you should, because
why should I know that?
There's a couple ways you can look at this.
So you can't go in there knocking everybody's socks off.
But I'm just saying, I understand what you're saying, but I can also look at it from this standpoint. Man, I'm finna go in there and do what I do.
But that's not how the game works. Your job is just warm the club up, give them some hits, make them dance, and then when the headliner comes in, just be real crazy. Jazzy Jeff comes in. You don't want to have to worry about what you done played to make everybody. Oh, we already heard that. You're not supposed to do that. But it's just something you gotta learn. So one time when I was trying to make a return, I had to open for somebody. My brother cussed me out for doing that. He's like, "Why are you opening for somebody?" But I mean, I'm like, "Hey, I love the DJ. I just want to DJ and do stuff." And so it was something, you know. And he would tell you not to play this, not to play that, not to play. He would tell me because I went with him to load in and everything. So we talked about it. But it's just, I guess it's an unwritten rule. And Lance, you already know it. Lee probably knows it. It's just, like you said, you didn't do clubs a lot. But a lot of clubs I did, we didn't have no opener. We did the 6 hours, 8 hours by ourselves.
I think, from my experience, only because I've opened for high-end DJs, I've opened for big-name DJs. As an opener, it is your responsibility to do research on the DJ you're opening for.
Like
So
that.
I've opened for Bad Boy Bill and Terry Hunter, and flip side, I know what their sets are like. I know the music they play. I know I'm not going to play a Terry Hunter song. I'm not going to play a Bad Boy Bill song. I'm not going to play any Jump Smokers remixes if Flipside's playing. But at the same time, Rain opens for me, and he's one of my best friends. So I'm like, look, man, go ahead, have fun, play whatever you want, play the bangers, because I know the way he DJs and he sets the floor for me. And I know at the same time, there's so much other good music that I could play. Whereas if he's playing bangers, I could still come in and kill a floor.
Yeah, I liked it.
But one of the reasons why I asked that. But first, do you have some, Lee? I don't want to.
Lee, you got
no, go right ahead.
Go ahead.
One of the reasons that I asked that, I was in a situation at a club, and the closer opened, and he needed me to close. He played all the bangers. I'm talking about every banger on purpose, and then asked me, "Hey, you gonna be okay? You will you be able to keep this energy?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I don't care what you play, because there is so much music.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the crowd, how they're responding to what he's playing, and I'm making a list in my head. Okay, I'll go here. I'll go there. Oh, he played that. Okay, so I'll do this. And he did that. And at the end of the night, he had to come and shake my hand.
Yeah.
But I mean, 4 hours later, everyone's also drunk. So if you repeat one or two songs, no one's gonna remember.
I think it's a thing of respect.
But here's the thing too. Like, if you're gonna play some Bobby Caldwell and you're gonna throw some throwbacks and you can make that a jam, man, it doesn't matter what you play. I'm gonna come up with the best of them, because it's the same thing. Like, so down here in DFW, you got people like DJ Panic, DJ Casper. You got a lot of people that have been in the game for a long time, that have been in the bar scene for a long time. So for me, being able to follow them, sometimes it is hard because they're going to go all in. But like Lance was saying, if I know the DJ, like, I kind of know his vibe and what he's going to play. So I go with, backup playlist B, backup playlist C, and then I go from there.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna stop beating the horse. We're gonna keep it moving. All right. Next question. Go ahead, Mike.
You killed my question, sir.
You
Okay.
kill your own question.
So have any DJs successfully raised their rates in clubs that you guys know of? And what was that process? What did that process look like?
Lee?
Now, I know both of you guys say that y'all have. So tell me, or tell us, what was that process for the both of you?
For me, a lot of it was just the revenue. If the bar knew whenever I was there, his revenue was X amount of percent higher, that was my bargaining tool. I'm like, hey, I see all the restocking that you're doing. I see all the bottles that are going away. That just tells me you're making more money. So I would use that as a chip, because numbers don't lie. So it's at the same time when my regulars start coming in and they're mad that this other DJ's here and not me, they would leave the bar. So it's just one of those things where I had these bargaining chips where it was just one of those, my fan club would come out, or I would get more people to come in just because I was there, even if it was on a Wednesday night. It's just numbers don't lie. So whether it's people, heads, or the bottles that are going in, I'm like, hey, I know you're making it, and I need some of that.
Lance?
My main thing is I build relationships. I build relationships with GMs, talent managers, the managers, bottle girls, bartenders. And I get on their good side because what happens is in 2, 3, 4, 5 months, they could see the difference in when I'm DJing and other DJs are DJing. Not crapping on any other DJ, but I think when a talent has a personal relationship with a venue, they put you at a higher standard than other DJs because now
Always.
you're more like a family to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Great answer. Great answer. Mike, have you ever been in a situation where you had to try to raise your rates?
Well, not like I said, I wasn't heavily in that situation, but in my years now, I've been in a situation to where it started out one way. And, some weeks in, I'm like, well, we got to do something different because you see the response.
Yeah.
You see how people or participating and dancing and having a good time to the point that they're asking for me versus this guy.
This guy.
Hey,
really?
I'm
That's how you're going down.
Hey, if you're going to point, name drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, and they're asking for you, and they start, to demand. And like Lance, I build a relationship. I speak and talk with everybody, and build that rapport because it matters.
Yeah. All right.
It matters.
It does.
Go ahead.
All
Jeff.
right. No, we're going to the next one because that's pretty much the same question.
Okay.
So
all right. Go ahead.
Get this one to give you.
Okay. You're going to give me that? Okay. All right. Unions, collective actions, and realistic path for DJs in club world. What do you guys think about having a union when it comes to the DJ industry, not just the club for me, just period? What do you think about standardization?
Boy, the room gets quiet.
If y'all don't want to answer, I will.
Can we go to a commercial break?
I'll speak to it, and I'm gonna say no. For me, it's a no.
You don't want standardization?
The only reason is because for me personally, LA Productions, like my brand, we are completely different when it comes to DJing. We are very interactive. Like I have my wireless headsets. I'm jumping on the dance floor. I'm moving around. I'm getting behind the bars. I'm dancing with the bride and the groom. It's, to me, what I charge and what everything else, it's because it's a show that you're seeing, not just behind the ones and two. My ones and twos back up everything, but I'm also doing a lot of different antics behind the scene. So for me, if I were to go with what other DJs are charging, but I'm the way that I'm very active in how I perform, it's not going to add up.
I don't think he's saying in that perspective. I think he's saying that overall, as a collective, we unionize and set the bottom rate or this is the starting rate, not telling everybody what they got to make, but setting a rate. So we're not going to have you DJing in the club for $50 for 6 hours. We say, okay, everybody's minimum start is $300.
I think club worlds now are cliques. Like when you were in high school, you got your sports guys, you got your jocks, you got your band geeks, you got your cheerleaders, you got your nerds. And I think within the club scene, there's everyone's their own group or clique. Because even in Chicago, we have DJs that say, don't fuck with this DJ, or don't talk to this DJ, or don't do gigs for this DJ. But at the same time, there's DJs that undercut each other in the same circle. So that's my answer.
So
it could be a good or a bad thing.
So looking at that, and looking at what you said, Lee and Lance, for me, I'm still on the side of having some type of structure. I think one of the things me and Jeff was talking about earlier, I was asking him, what is something that exists in the DJ industry that's like a superpower, but it's not a superpower? And for me, that thing is division, lack of unity, jealousy, envy. everything that's big within our industry is negative. There is no such thing as a unified front. There's unity among cliques, but as a whole, it's one of those situations like the West. We're going to draw, and instead of facing you, I'm going to shoot you in the back. And to have some form of standards will help instead of hurting us. Now, it will affect some people because, and some people will get mad at this. You have some people that are DJing that calls themselves DJs that are no more than button pushers. Skill they do not have as a DJ. As a business person, they're great. But if we had standards, we could help instead of hurt, because there are so many people that know nothing that hurt us all. And the reason they're able to do that, we don't have nothing in place. You can't go somewhere. You can't even get guys to come together. We have, how many shows do we have yearly? DJ conferences. We have about 5 or 10? I'll say 10. Lance, do you think it's possible to get all of the owners in one room and to put some things together as a team?
Nope.
And if they were able to do that, how would that affect us as a whole? It wouldn't hurt us, but everybody, I got to have my own shine. It's not, you can have your shine and we still can be together. Yeah, we got NFL teams. How many teams do we have? 32?
Yeah.
They all have different pay rates, on some teams, which they have caps, but how often do we see that market reset? Cleveland, what did they do? They gave what's his name, the quarterback, a fully guaranteed contract for over $200 million, and the whole league was upset.
Yeah.
So the dancing, the coming from behind the boot, the headphones, the props, all of that still would work.
Yeah, yeah.
But let me stop.
Yeah, yeah. Stop it.
Tell us how you really feel, Mike.
Yeah, he is. He's slow him down this evening. All right. What role can industry leaders, influencers, and podcast platforms like this one play in changing the narrative? Educate. That's what we can all try to do, is educate those who come behind us and try to get them to do better and understand that you don't, just because you want to do it, you don't have to do it for those peanuts because you want an opportunity. Know your worth. But that's me. What everybody else? What y'all got?
Education's pretty cool. I mean, platforms like TikTok, the way that you can share stuff on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube now with shorts and everything else. Obviously, social media is just what's helping us DJs really get out there to a bigger audience. And I think that's going to allow us to be able to hopefully one day kind of build those communities like y'all were saying, to where maybe we could talk about it. But I just feel like there's just too much competition for us to all come together to figure out what we're going to do when it comes to price rise.
Yeah. And I think it's just more than price. I just think it's overall, the price is one big point, but I think the lack of education is killing us. It's killing us. We have a slew of DJs that don't even know that they have conferences that they can go to and get education. And to me, in today's time, how in the hell is that? How is that possible? And a lot of those DJs, or a lot of the club DJs. And then you have man, I don't need that. You clearly need that if you're making $150 or $250 or even $300 or even $400. You do need education.
Yeah. And as Riley said, there's levels to the industry, and you have to adapt to change in technology.
Oh, yes,
yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. And I do think that there should be tiers, because there is no way humanly possible that someone that just pushes a button and don't know how to read a room should have the ability to make over $500 to $1,000 to $200 to $2,000. There's no way that should take place. And there's nothing put in place to make them want to get better or do something different. There's no one that pushes them and say, hey, no, you need to do this before you can get here. They can push a damn button and go make $2,000.
Yeah.
And nothing is set in place to say, no, you need to learn. Nothing.
Well, we got to blame that on clients. You got to blame it on.
Well, I can't blame it on clients if they don't know.
Well,
we know the industry.
Yeah.
I can't put that blame on them. No, we're responsible for that ish, as they say.
And we want to thank Lou. God,
what's up, Mitch?
Mitch, for
Mitch,
jumping on right now.
It's not him. It's my question.
But now, how you doing, Mitch? How was your call? Everything go good?
Good. We sold a wedding for Colorado today.
All right.
All right. What was that price point?
$3,000.
There we go.
There we go. Yep. But yeah, he was telling us some early good stories earlier about different things and pricing and battles and things. Do y'all have the same problems up there where you're at with Club DJ still getting shot in the neck?
So,
working for peanuts?
Yes, I would say for sure. But I don't do a ton of clubs anymore at all. We primarily stick to private events, weddings, corporates. That's primarily where we stick because that's frankly where the money is, and to me, it's important that we focus on what we want to work at and where we want to be and who we want to serve. Mm-hmm. And so for me, that's more the private event sector than it is the club market.
Yeah. I would agree with that too. So you got, once you know better, you do better. That's how I always say it.
Yeah, and I know you're a little late to the party because you was taking care of business. So how do you feel? How do you feel about standards? Having standards and having some form of a union.
Oh man!
Wow,
you put me on the spot.
No, it's not a spot.
This is so hard.
Why?
We've been down this road, and it's hard because there isn't a stand. There's no anyone can go out and purchase a pirated hard drive off of eBay, a computer, and try to DJ. Learn in there, and again, there's nothing wrong with learning. I will never be the guy that poo-poos someone for learning.
Yeah.
And practicing in their bedroom or at a private event at their mom's, at their pool party or whatever. You know what I mean? Like we all started somewhere. And I think we often forget that we all started somewhere. But I don't know if I ever foresee that happening.
You don't. It's not.
I really don't. And in some ways I hate to say that, but we can't even agree on base standards of like private events.
Yeah, entry level is too easy, so it's never going to happen because you can spend $2,000 and have a full setup. If not, maybe even less, and have a full setup, an iPad. You can DJ off your phone.
Can I say one thing to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So just think about what both of you guys just said, and if every one of us continue to say that, it won't happen.
I mean, I understand that, but how? You can tell us how. Then
I'm just saying,
I understand what you said, but
I'm just saying the way that it happens is like anything. It has to start somewhere, and you have to get a group of people that are willing to fight for it.
Well, we all are, but
they
don't.
I don't agree that we're all.
I mean, all of us are fighting all the time to try to make things better, but the people coming behind you don't really care about that. All they care about is getting in and making their money, and it's hard to change it when people are able to do that.
And
history repeats itself.
Yeah,
it does because we do the same thing. We're creatures of habits. Yeah. Everything that we do stems from an influence. And
other organizations have passed a certification test before for DJs, American Disc Jockey Association, Wedding Entertainment Directors Guild, which I was a part of. And it never got legs. It never grew because DJs didn't really want it.
Oh, and I get it. I get it. It's there's a sad part of it for me that by being disconnected, so many people that shouldn't benefit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hold anybody accountable. And it's like teaching a group of 3-year-olds or 4-year-olds. They want to play. They don't want any structure. They just want to play and have fun. And that's what we have. We're playing this huge game of hide and seek. I can hide and just and put on this fake coat and make myself be something that I'm not, and charge someone this ginormous price and F their wedding totally up.
But see, I would argue too, there's people who do the same thing and charge a lot of money and don't have no talent.
Oh, I agree.
And then there's people who don't charge a lot of money and have a lot of talent.
I agree.
Correct.
Education.
See, but it goes a lot of ways, so it could go either way. So
I agree.
Honestly, I would love for us all to come together in Kumbaya and say, you can't come in the door until you do this or you do that. But Mike, it's too easy. I don't have to go to you, or I don't have to get approval from anybody to go say I can DJ.
Oh, I know.
It's just like that T-shirt I had made. This is the only business that you can put DJ at the front of your name and nobody takes your credentials.
Correct.
Yes, yeah. So, but it's a tough one out there. But we got one last good question, and I'm just gonna try to keep us rolling because Mike is on one of his soapboxes. I might have to get a little box instead of one mic. We'll put one soapbox. Last question of the evening. What's one thing club DJs, some people may not do it, but if you ever did it, should do this year to start shifting the culture around pricing? What is something that we can everybody can do in this industry to change the culture? We'll start with Mr. Lee since he was our first guest of the evening and put him on the spot.
All right. So, pay attention. Look at your surroundings. Meaning, the surroundings in the bar. Like I said, if you start realizing that every time you're there at a venue or you're there at an event, more people are showing up, more sales are going on. You really have to pay attention to that. Even though, we're watching the crowd to keep the vibe going up, you're still running your own independent business. So if you're helping their business grow, they can help your business grow financially as well. So to me, a lot of DJs need to not just look at the dance floor, look at the whole scene. Look at the parking lot. If you're selling that venue out, some of that revenue needs to be coming to you.
Yeah. Lance?
I think Lee hit it on the spot. I think two things is relationships and value you bring to the club or venue you're at.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, relationships with the owners and managers are important. And then also you have to realize what value you're bringing to the club.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But again, to me, it all falls on education, what you know. But go ahead, brother.
Mitch.
So
I don't know why I want to call him Lou tonight. I'm just okay. I'm sorry.
You can call me Luda.
No. Luda.
How low?
I love you using to be able to drop that halftime and out of a 140 BPM track. It was great. Drop How Low by Luda. That was always a banger. So I agree with Lee's, and I would say it like this though: you listen not only with your ears, but you listen with your eyes.
I like that.
And you're looking around and you're seeing what's going on at the club, and get a percentage of the door or get a percentage of the liquor sales or something of that realm for yourself. But I would also go back to, you have to believe you're worth what you're charging. It's an old Mark Farrell quote, but it's 100% true. If you don't believe it first, they're not going to believe it when you quote them.
I just told somebody that the other day. Yeah. You tell me you want 125 and you shaking and sweating and palms. I'm not gonna give you $125. I'm gonna be like 75. Okay, I'll take it. Yeah, because they just trying to get it. But yeah, those are all great answers. But the man himself, what would you do, sir?
No, I agree. You definitely need to pay attention. I agree with everything that was said. You have to be uh, aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
And not just be so consumed with the music that you're playing.
Yeah.
It's a business. Even if you look at it as a hobby. I had a student that wanted to learn how to DJ, and I'm like, why? Well, I just want to learn how to do it. I said, well, I'm telling you now, it's a hobby, but you need to look at this as a business.
Yeah.
Because the moment that you say, I just want to go do it and I'm gonna go DJ for, my cousin's birthday party, and you did it for a cool $50, and then your cousin told her friend, and then you do theirs for a cool $50, and you look up 5 years later, you've totaled $2,000 out of 500 events. So.
And not to mention how much you've given up on compound interest, but on investing some of this money over your life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you ain't got none because you can't afford to buy nothing new. Yeah. That's the other part of it too. But man, I think it's a very interesting thing of what goes on in clubs and how it is, 150, and that was 1990. And $200, $300, and it's still the same way now. So it's just really interesting that it hasn't changed, or we haven't figured out a way to change it. And Terrence laughing at your cool 50. What's up, T, down in Nolan's, down in NOLA? But yeah, so man, I just feel like, try to educate. And then definitely if somebody replaces you or you get put out of a club, go ask them. Ask them what the hell do they do. They're doing. No, I'm just saying.
You say put out of a club?
No. If you not get put out, but you know what I mean. Situation we had where somebody was offering less money to take the job that we had.
Yes.
And offered him $100 less. Offered him $150 to come in and replace us. And I'm like, okay, go right ahead and take it if you want to. Yeah, go right ahead.
Yes, but yeah. Well, education is key.
Yeah.
We just have to be better informed. And I think for those of us that know, when we're in a situation where we can inform someone, inform them. And true, it's up to them to take something, and do something with that information. But what they can't say is they don't know.
Yeah.
You chose to do that. You can't say that you didn't know that you could do better, and for the DJs that are coming up and that are doing this, learn what the value is of the service that you're providing and have some freaking belief in what you do. If you're practicing every day or however many times, believe in that. And if people are dancing and having a good time out there, believe in that. There's value behind that. And if you can get people to dance and you can read a room, then they can read your pockets and put more in them. It's simple.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming on. We got any famous last words from anybody? Anybody got any shout outs, selling any products or anything?
The longer you keep them staying there at the bar, the
Yeah.
more they drink and the more profits they make.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's your value.
Yeah, that's your value. Yeah.
Well, I definitely, we thank you guys for, coming in with us. And it's, what you think, how you feel, and how you see this industry is very important to us. All of you guys are successful in what you do. And we're grateful for your presence. Mitch dropped something on us a couple of months back that still just
resonate.
It has, it lives in my head rent free.
Yeah.
He
dropped some straight nuggets.
Yes.
And Terrence just dropped a real nugget too. He
Yes.
said DJs need mentors, and a mentor can change everything.
100.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
100.
Yeah. And because we don't know it all, and you will never know it all, but you're going to always keep learning. And I mean, even I'm learning I'm still learning. So I'm just always trying to be better and learn and do things better every time I'm coming out the door. So
yeah, it's great.
When I stop learning, I'll quit.
Mm-hmm. And I'll just say this, we just met Lee and we'll get to know you even better because we're here locally. But even watching Lance, I've watched Lance work at shows, and Lance is, how old are you, Lance? 15, 16?
I just
22.
turned 21.
What? No.
I'm 28.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, Lance is a younger guy in the industry, and it's amazing seeing the younger guys have a business mind and
it's
work.
good seeing the younger guys.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it because I learned from it.
Yeah.
And to see him walk and command respect, that's a wonderful thing because he knows his work.
Yeah, and just all the knowledge that I've seen over the years from Mitch Taylor too. See,
got
it right. But I mean, just everybody, you get some from everybody. You can take some from any and everybody in this industry. Just have an open mind and be willing to learn, and never know when you might get that dime or that nugget that can change your life.
Yep. So, and if you are someone that's been in the industry, go find someone that you can pour into, and then maybe we can get to what I want to see.
No.
A unified front.
All right, take us out of here, brother.
Well, thank you guys again for joining us, man. We had a blast. Jeffrey is touching things that he shouldn't touch ever. But thank you.
I just
guys,
came so I could be on a
night.
podcast with Lance George.
Say that again.
I just came so I could be on a podcast with Lance George.
Oh yeah.
Well, now your dreams have come true.
That's right.
The great
I could die a happy man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the funny you say, I'm gonna say this real quick, then we're gonna go.
Hey,
but
go ahead.
the same thing, like I never thought I'd be having conversations with Mitch, with Matt, with Michael Walter, all these guys. And now I get to sit and have conversations with y'all. Y'all come and sit at my table and talk to me, sit at the table and talk to us. So like I say, if you just continue to grow and learn and do things, it'll all come together. And, I admire all these guys, and now I get to sit down and talk to them and learn from them, right here. So, yeah.
That's great. So, hey, thank you guys. It was a blast.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Next time.
Thank you guys.
All right. Good night.